What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, fear and greed index, extreme fear, possibly signaling that some people are not having a great day today. Lots of investors are very worried about what could be happening right now for the price of Bitcoin. And actually, even if we have a look at what the S&P is doing right now, we are pushing right now on this critical support for the S&P. And if we lose this, well, it could get quite ugly. So there is indeed a lot of fear across the board. However, what we need to talk about is realistically what is going on right now, because there is some on-chain data and some legacy Bitcoin indicators that we need to pay attention to right now, because a lot of people are getting bored, they're losing interest, they're panic selling, they're selling for a loss even. But if we have a look at these historic indicators and what is happening, I think it's quite shocking. And not only that, there is a lot of fear about what is happening with Russia and Ukraine, and even the involvement potentially of the US. How could that possibly affect stocks or the global economy, or specifically Bitcoin and crypto? Well, you might be surprised to actually realize what could truly happen if that was to take place. And I think the results might actually shock you. So you might want to stick around for that. We have multiple sources coming out saying that it could actually be good for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. You're going to want to stick around for this. Very, very interesting. It could absolutely throw a wrench in the gears of the Fed and all the talk that they've been talking essentially about these rates and raising them and tapering and being hawkish. Well, we might just throw that all out the window. So that's what I want to talk about today. We're also going to go over obviously the short-term price action for those of you who are looking to trade these charts. So if you are interested, get subscribed. And without further ado, let's have a look. Now, there are some very interesting things happening right now in the Bitcoin chart. So we can start off sort of with the positive. The positives being that you can see that we actually have flipped this area right here as support. So we are still, in fact, putting in higher lows, right? So this is actually good for the structure of Bitcoin. That's the positives. The negatives that we're seeing right now is that we did have the bounce off these levels. We came back up here, but we did, in fact, get rejected again from these resistance points. Now, if you have a look right here, the reason that we need to break above this is because of this support, right? And we built this structure. We had a nice structure. We were putting in higher lows and higher lows. And then as soon as we fell here, we actually put in the first lower low of the structure. And once we tried to break back above it, we could not get above that level. So that is not good short term. What you need to see for Bitcoin, and I'm not talking about bear market, bull market, I'm talking like just in the next week or so, what we really need to see Bitcoin do is break above $44,600, because that's this horizontal level right here. But then more importantly, we do have this trend, which is just going to continue upwards and upwards and upwards, right? So the longer it takes for Bitcoin to get above this, the higher the price is going to have to go, right? Until we eventually reach this point of $52,000, which is the ultimate level that I do think we need to flip in order to become truly bullish again for Bitcoin. But short term, if we were to go straight up today and you wanted to break back into this level, you would have to get above $45,830. And if we could do that, then I think easy Bitcoin's going straight to $52,000, and we could have potentially reversed that trend, right? But currently we are still sitting below the EMA ribbon on the weekly. Now, I will point out that we did have support right here at the 89, and we are sitting above our linear, our horizontal support as well, which is very good, but it's not a very confident bounce right now. In fact, it's pretty much sitting exactly at the same level that we were at. You know, putting in a bit of a doji right here, we do need to still get above this band. And if we were to break above this level, we're looking at around $45,633. So if we look at the band, $45,633, and we look at the level today being around 45,820 roughly, I think you guys are getting an idea of where the price of Bitcoin really needs to go. So this level right here, you can see the blue zone territory that we had drawn out. This is really the area that we'd like to get back inside. We did see a lot of accumulation in this zone. And, you know, as I was saying, guys, as long as we continue to put in this higher trend, higher lows, then you really can't get full on bearish just yet on the Bitcoin price. The level to really be careful is right here right at this 100 weekly, which is around pretty much as of right now, $33,000 even. So you don't want to close a weekly candle below $33,000, okay? We can touch 33,000. We can even go below 33,000. We can go to 28,000 as long as the candle closes above that level at the end of the week. Then I think that we're still in, good territory for Bitcoin. Now, having a look at some indicators and some charts and some on-chain data, there is definitely a story that is building in the background for Bitcoin, and it's not as fearful as everybody seems to be right now, and that's what I want to talk about. Now, we do have Ether Nisonia, or Nisonial, I think I might have said that wrong, but he had pointed out the crypto total cap. So this is all of the cryptos, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the altcoins into one giant chart. And you can actually see that what he believes is that it's forming a bit of a giant cup and handle. Now, cup and handle patterns are very bullish. They're very, very bullish in traditional assets. And he points out to how we did have this one, way back here. And as soon as we had this, boom, we had that crazy blast off. And this was essentially for the 2017 all-time high. And then we've been essentially consolidating during this entire period leading into 2021, where he believes that now we could be putting in the handle for the cup down here. Now, let me know if you agree with this. I mean, personally, this handle's going up as opposed to coming down. But if we do have a bounce here, then you could argue that ultimately that is the formation that we are forming. Now, talking about the CBBI historical chart, and by the way, this combines multiple different charts all into one. You have the R HODL, the Trollololo, MRV, Reserve, Wood Bull, Top Cap, Having to Peak, whatever. Lots of different charts all in one. And you can see that every single time that Bitcoin had a peak, even a mid-cycle peak, we essentially came up to these massively high levels. And, we have not reached anywhere near this. In fact, the highest that this ever got was a 76. And during the previous all-time highs of both of the previous bull runs that we had, this one back here in 2017, we did in fact get our 100 mark. And right here again, 2013 and 2017, we hit 100. And currently right here, 75 is the highest we ever got. So we never even got close to those levels. Another one that you can also look at is the Puel multiple, very, very popular, chart that people use for Bitcoin. And you can see, obviously, we minimally at least get into this red zone right here when we do come into these peaks, when we do get into these super hot, really bought, zones. And you could see that we haven't done that yet. In fact, we didn't even get into the zone at all. The highest that we got was about a 3. And we needed to minimally get up to about a 4 just to start, getting into the beginning of the red zone of being overheated. And I mean, if we zoom in right here, you can clearly see at no point did we ever even get into that. We came close to it, but we never fully got into it the same way that we, came up here. And even though, yes, this was a little bit of a mini bear market inside of the market, we still were not at the peak for Bitcoin. And also historically, not financial advice, if you are looking for times to buy Bitcoin, we are getting very close, although you really want to get down into this green zone right here, which we did actually peak back once, June 27th, which was the Bitcoin price was sitting roughly, what was it around at that time? Around $33,000, guys. So that's basically the price levels that we were talking about for the lower part of that band. So you could see that that's pointing out the fact that we have not reached the highs. Also, the dormancy flow, which compares the annualized USD value of destruction to the 365-day moving average, Pascal Abrams pointed this out. You can actually see that this is in historical buy levels as well. This is actually hitting the zone. And you can see every single time we came down into these levels, it didn't mean that necessarily Bitcoin was going to skyrocket to the moon, right? But it did point out amazing opportunities. And within the next few months, there usually was a massive reversal to the upside for Bitcoin after a bit of a sideways accumulation. So we're not saying that the price could just go to the moon tomorrow, but what we are saying is we could be really forming that bottom, and everyone that's panicking right now, the next month or so could really be that final opportunity for accumulation, because a lot of these signals are showing that we are oversold, we are in good territory for buying, and we have not hit the all-time high. And having a look at on-chain data for just the percentage of Bitcoin for last active a year and above, essentially, once again, what you're seeing according to this Glassnode chart is that the long-term holders are accumulating, and the people who are selling are people who got into crypto recently. And this is just showing you that the long-term hodlers believe in the price and understand that this is actually a great time to be buying. I mean, if you just have a look at also the data in the background, so many people getting depressed about the price, but really price is just a short-term reflection of, the madness that's going on in the world. Long-term, Bitcoin has gone up and to the right indefinitely for 13 years nonstop. Why is it different this time? Oh, because this is happening. The Fed is doing this. Oh, and there's a situation with Russia, as if nothing like this has happened in the past 13 years. There's been nothing, you know what I'm saying? So having a look right here, once again, you could see this. And, fundamentally speaking, we've seen hash rate hit an all-time high. We've also seen Bitcoin mining difficulty hit an all-time high. And also, we have seen locked Bitcoin in the Lightning Network as of today, the highest that it's ever been. So we're seeing all these fundamentals, but yet people are afraid of what could potentially happen with this man and the US. Now let's talk about why maybe we might be overthinking this just a bit. So let's just start with a little bit of background on what's going on. So according to a press statement released on Monday, the finance ministry has presented a bill on cryptocurrency regulation to Parliament based on a roadmap drafted last month by a group of several government agencies over in Russia. According to last week's draft bill, cryptocurrencies would be treated as an investment tool, not legal tender, preventing their use as a means of payment for goods and services. So you might be saying to yourself, well, this probably isn't good. Like, Russia doesn't want to use it as a means of payment. But really, when you think about it, it's kind of gray everywhere as a means of payment. I mean, even if you want to use it in the US, officially, you'd have to convert it or use an intermediary that's going to convert it into a fiat on the other end, right? Whereas over in El Salvador, it is actually legal tender. So it's not like that bad of a deal. So you can see that Russia, though, racked up $5 billion in cryptocurrency transactions just last year alone, according to the country's central bank. So inflation is climbing steeply, with Western sanctions over Ukraine expecting to hit hard. More citizens may turn to crypto to protect their savings from rising living costs. We've already seen it with El Salvador. We've seen it with these other countries as well, adopting it. We've seen Venezuela using it, Turkey using it. So following China's crypto ban last year, Russia actually became the world's third largest Bitcoin mining hub as miners fled across the Chinese border into Russia. And another great thing about Russia is you have places that have very cheap energy and cold conditions, like over in Siberia. So this has become a really attractive place, essentially, to mine Bitcoin. Now, moving on. So yesterday, we had the US and its European allies announcing a range of sanctions against Russia after Moscow's recognition of two separatist regions in Ukraine as independent entities. So an initial set of measures targets Russia's sovereign debt, its elites, and two major banks. Additionally, Germany has halted the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, an $11 billion project meant to ferry natural gas directly from Russia to Germany. Now, analytics from Glassnode have noticed in their report that Bitcoin investors appear far more likely to hold or use derivatives to hedge risk rather than selling spot to reduce exposure. So this goes back to the chart that we saw previously. We're actually seeing that even though, if we go over and have a look at what we're seeing right now on the S&P, even though we are here, I mean, ultimately, if you were really going to trade the S&P right now, this could potentially be where you would want to long. It would be a little bit risky in case we fell, but this is really the support right here. I mean, this is the bottom of the support. But, anyway, getting back to essentially what we were saying right here. So why could it be a good thing? Here's the part. So according to Walter Bloomberg, and if you follow this guy, he's always, tweeting. He tweets like every minute, all these different news headlines that came out. But this one in particular got a lot of views and a lot of retweets. So he says Russia-Ukraine crisis could force a reassessment of the Fed tightening path, resulting in central banks turning less hawkish, while policymakers may consider additional fiscal stimulus, according to JP Morgan. So this would essentially reverse everything that they've been saying. And if this does push us into this situation, they may have to turn dovish and they may have to look to more stimulus as well. And so you could see Zero Hedge was pointing out the S&P 500 index futures erased its declines and turned positive. And to that, Max Kaiser responded, the new crisis means more money printing, lower rates, more of the same. The specter of higher rates triggered these countries to spin up some war trouble with the only central bank that they don't control. Rinse and repeat. So, very, very interesting. And as I've been pointing out, guys, if we have a look at the dollar does in fact look like it's been on a decline. This is the DXY putting in these lower highs after lower high. And also, I showed you in yesterday's video, it appears that we are putting in a bit of a descending triangle, and descending triangles are extremely bearish. And if you're talking about the dollar, well, that might end quite bad. And, of course, we do have a lot of time until that potentially happens. We could bounce around in here for years, right? But ultimately, it shows you that the dollar is on an ultimate decline. Now, interestingly enough, on the flip side, you're seeing El Salvador proposing to offer citizenship to foreign investors. Now, they haven't stated if the bill would be targeted towards Bitcoin-linked entrepreneurs only. However, the president has referred to it as, El Salvador being literally the land of Bitcoin freedom. I mean, he tweeted that out the other day. On top of that, we're seeing Brazil's Senate committee approving a bill to regulate cryptocurrencies as well. Lots of positive, bullish fundamentals in the background, but yet people are just freaking out, very laser focused on what is happening in the short term. I mean, even if you just want to look at stablecoin adoption, we have USDC operator Circle launching a new account service aimed at helping businesses transact in cryptocurrencies, potentially opening the door to wider mainstream adoption of digital assets. This will allow them to send and receive USDC across 8 blockchains, including Ethereum, Algorand, Solana, Stellar, Tron, Hedera, Avalanche, and Flow. So why would they, you have to ask yourself, why are we building all this infrastructure? Why are we, taking all the initiative to, connect these bridges to make this access to legalize and regulate Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining and cryptocurrencies and incentivize investors to come to our nation who are looking to be, pro-Bitcoin if, Bitcoin's going to zero and it's over. So ultimately, guys, I'm not going to overcomplicate this. We did have this beautiful bounce off this line. If we zoom in right here, you can see that we did hold structure off this support. As long as we do continue to put in the higher highs and higher lows, I remain bullish. And ultimately, as I said, we need to get out of this blue zone right here. And if we go back and have a look at where those levels are, mainly that's right around the $45,000 to $46,000 level. So let's just round it up and say that ultimately Bitcoin needs to get above, let's say 46,000, okay? It's really 45,500, 700, but let's just say right now, $46,000, that's the level that Bitcoin needs to get above. The level that we don't want to fall below is 36,214. Close below 36,214, we most likely head back down below 33 to 30, but we did have a perfect bounce, so we didn't get below that level. And that was kind of what we thought was going to happen. We said we were most likely going to have a bounce at that level, and we did get the bounce, but obviously we need to play this day by day. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos in the first place. Get subscribed, drop a comment. I'm definitely interested. What do you guys think about all this? Do you think that it actually could be good for Russia? Do you believe in all of this, hidden bullish fundamentals and on-chain data, or do you think it's just a bunch of baloney and guys like me are just spreading hopium and hoping for the best, but we all know that it's just going to crash down to 10,000 like some people are saying? I don't think that, but let me know what you guys think below. So that's it for me. Thank you for coming back to the channel, and remember, if you are looking to trade this, check out these videos popping up right here right now, and until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.